Just over 21% of Colorado's 5.5 million residents are Latino, and when you're a political candidate, that percentage can make or break a campaign. Well, joining us now is Maria Handley from Generation Latino. Welcome.
Thank you.
So your organization's goal is to really make sure that Latino voices are heard during elections. How do you pick and choose which elections you are focusing in on?
So as you mentioned before, Latinos make up 21% of Colorado's population. And when we're deciding where we're going to work, we look at where we have high concentration of Latinos in Colorado. And Adams County is one of those areas where 40% of the population is Latino. So that was really kind of the driving point for us of understanding and realizing where we needed to make sure we elevated Latino voices.
So how do you do that?
So, you know, a lot of the work that we do is through social digital media. And so a lot of that work is through narrative storytelling and really trying to show those positive stories of who we as Latinos are in Colorado and why their voices are so important. And so that's what we did. We highlighted stories from students, teachers of why they should be engaged in races like school board races in the county.
So you really start grassroots rather than focusing on, say, the governor's race.
Precisely. Elections are local, and if we're going to make a difference and make sure people understand their voice is going to be heard, it's important for us to make sure that we're talking to them on issues that are relatable to them and their community.
The Latino community here is very, very diverse. You know, there are families who have been here for generations. There are newcomers. There are Cubans. There's Puerto Ricans. How do you put that group into one umbrella organization, I guess?
Well, and I think the fun thing about this is that we don't. We understand that, as to your point, we are a very unique fabric of the state. We have amazing different backgrounds and stories that need to be told. And that's why the stories that we tell all come with a unique perspective. But at the end of the day, we all come together on the values that are important to all of us as Coloradans.
And then you talked about using social media. That seems to appeal primarily to millennials. So I'm sure that is an important group to target right now. But how do you get them to the polls?
You know, so I think that one of the things that we've learned is you can't go negative. Millennials across the board get turned off on negative campaigning and the polarization of issues. So we make it very clear and very important for us to make sure we take the high road and really talk about the positive aspects of engaging on important issues.
And then on the flip side, what about the older generation? How do you reach those people who have not been engaged in politics before?
You know, it's very similar in making sure that we're reaching out to them in a thoughtful way and utilizing some of the other tactics. We may not be reaching them through their smartphone, but certainly we may be talking to them on the phones.
So literally calling landlines is what you're talking about. So it's a different strategy for each age group. How do you know how to strategize in a particular neighborhood? Adams County is very different from Arapahoe County.
You know, I think that's the really interesting thing that we're learning about with technology is that we're constantly testing different tactics of how we reach and communicate with our target demographics. And so when we may learn that, you know, reaching Latinos in one way and Adams may not be the same way we should connect with Latinos in Pueblo.
There's been a lot of talk from President Trump regarding his tough stance on the border wall and on immigration. Is that a turnoff for people, or does that get people engaged?
No, I certainly think it's a turnoff, but I am very confident that this, you know, that negative energy is really going to put out the best of people in this coming election. Really, people give them that opportunity to talk about the issues that are important to them in their lives and give them a reason to push back on that negative rhetoric.
So when you talk about the issues that are important, what are they, and how do you narrow those down to know who what you're trying to target?
Sure. So, you know, again, a lot of the folks that we talk to are the millennial generation, and the issues for them are not any different than anyone else. It's those bread and butter issues of jobs, economy, education, health care. It's important to make sure that we're talking to them on the issues that matter and not talking about issues like Russia. We need to make sure that we're bringing it home and talking to them about the things that will help them get ahead.
Well, very interesting. Maria Handley, thank you so much from Generation Latino. I appreciate you talking with us today.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, and we'll be right back.